Our final witness is Richard Powell, Executive Director of ClearPath Incorporated. Richard has served on the advisory committee to the Export-Import Bank of the U.S. since 2019, and he is also on the Atlantic Council's Global Energy Centers Advisory Group. Previously, he worked for McKinsey & Company in their energy and sustainability practices. Mr. Powell, thanks for being with us.
Good morning, Chairman Sanders, Ranking Member Graham, and members of the committee. I'm Rich Powell. I lead ClearPath. We advance policies that accelerate clean energy and industrial innovation. An important note, we receive no industry funding. Given your role in America's fiscally responsible approach to climate change and the economic recovery challenges ahead, I will discuss 5 topics today. First, the threat climate change poses to our economy and federal budget. Second, the need to invest in targeted solutions versus endlessly spending. Third, the opportunity for investments in clean energy, like implementing the Energy Act of 2020. Fourth, the reality that we can only build new clean energy projects as fast as we can permit them. And fifth, the priority to build on the historic, strong, bipartisan support for clean energy innovation. Climate change is real, and global industrial activity is the dominant contributor. And the challenge it poses to society merits significant action at every level of government and the private sector. Lawmakers and businesses across the country are prioritizing investments in climate change adaptation efforts. For example, the Republican Florida State Legislature just last week advanced a bill to Governor DeSantis' desk, which would require a master plan to address sea level rise and flooding and establish a fund to provide up to $100 million annually for climate resiliency projects. Managing our country's debt will be another defining challenge of this century. As millions of Americans hand over their hard-earned income on tax day, they are also wondering how our national debt recently surpassed $28 trillion. Since 1980, the United States has spent $1.9 trillion in disaster recovery from $290 billion events, all deficit spending. If we don't invest in adaptation and mitigation now, climate change will require massively deepening our deficit spending in the future. As you consider the budgetary demands of these challenges and the president's skinny budget proposal, it is important U.S. policy synchronizes with the global nature of the climate challenge. Existing clean technology is simply not up to the task of global decarbonization. The global supply of clean energy has remained stagnant since 2005. To make a dent in the global problem, we need to focus on breakthrough technologies. Developing countries choosing to buy and build clean energy technologies over carbon-intensive ones should be our goal. Today, many developing countries are choosing Chinese coal plants because they're cheaper to buy, easier to build, and better performing as an energy system than the clean technologies available to them. The U.S. cannot regulate or tax our way to a global solution. We don't have a magical mechanism to simultaneously regulate other countries' emissions. So what to do? We need to innovate and demonstrate here and deploy abroad. To do so, we must realize new energy technologies in the U.S. have not happened without investments from the Department of Energy. 2 of the breakthrough clean energy technologies responsible for the more than 30% carbon emissions reduction in the U.S. power system since 2005 are hydraulic fracturing and solar energy. Both follow the same pathway to success: earlier government R&D targeting outcomes, partnerships with private industry, and tax incentives to facilitate commercialization. This government support, while useful, should expire as technologies become commercially viable. Without this federal support, even a superior energy technology won't be able to break into the market because of the incumbent technologies have the scale and supporting infrastructure of a 50-year head start. The exciting news? At the end of 2020, Congress passed one of the biggest advancements in clean energy and climate policy we've seen in over a decade, with the monumental Energy Act of 2020. Specifically, the Energy Act supports key research, development, and demonstration programs for more than 20 commercial-scale projects across 5 major technology areas, like advanced nuclear reactors, carbon capture, or long-duration energy storage by the middle of this decade. DOE is most successful when it sets long-term, aggressive milestones to develop technologies at price points and performance levels that are meaningful for private markets. The priority now must be on implementing the Energy Act, fully funding these demonstration programs and overseeing rapid action at the Department of Energy. As we reimagine our energy grid using exciting new technologies, permitting modernizations must keep pace. This transition will require tens of thousands of miles of new pipelines carrying hydrogen and captured carbon dioxide from power plants and industrial facilities, new transmission infrastructure to carry electricity around an increasingly electrified country, and new nuclear reactors and power plants sited everywhere. This will be the largest continental construction project in history, and every single project will begin with a permit. Making the permitting process more efficient is essential for two reasons: stewardship of taxpayer resources and scaling clean energy rapidly. The bipartisan authorizations in the Energy Act and the most recent fiscal year 2020 and 2021 appropriations bills are great successes. I applaud the critical programmatic direction on clean energy innovation and look forward to seeing more bipartisan success this Congress. Thank you for this opportunity. I look forward to your questions.